Hi, I'm Brian Kellerman, the Chief Quality and Safety Officer at Kellerman Consulting, and this is episode 2 in our video series on dietary supplement manufacturing. In our previous episode, we provided some background on dietary supplements in the United States. In this episode, we are going to introduce the regulatory framework by which dietary supplements are manufactured and how regulations for dietary supplements differ from food products. To properly understand how dietary supplements are regulated by the FDA and at the state level, we will need to examine the primary section of the federal code that addresses safety standards in dietary supplement manufacturing, and understand how properly maintained systems and record keeping work in fully functioning dietary supplement operations. To do this, we are going to examine 21 CFR 111, which, as we mentioned in the previous episode, is the section of the federal code that addresses regulations for dietary supplements. So let's get started by diving into 21 CFR 111 requirements and how they are structured. Looking at 21 CFR Part 111, there are 16 sections, which are called subparts to the code. Each subpart has a letter associated with it, starting with A, and the last one ending with P. It is important that any dietary supplement program be written to include policies, procedures, standard operating procedures, forms, and/or electronic records addressing all requirements found in this code. The foundation of a dietary supplement program is the Master Manufacturing Record, also referred to as the MMR. The MMR includes the batch or production records that need to be completed each time dietary supplements are manufactured in operations. We are going to examine the master manufacturing requirements in depth in the next episode. For now, we will simply say that in place of a food safety plan, dietary supplement regulations are built on the requirement for careful record keeping, starting at receiving, through preoperative inspection, staging and weighing, production, label review, metal detection, and shipping. It is generally expected that operations will take place in a clean room, with employees changing into full jackets or smocks and wearing hairnets, beard nets for men with facial hair, and gloves prior to entering the clean room. Dedicated footwear is also expected to be used in operation. This means that shoes are changed into when the employee enters into the facility and changed out of and left in the facility at the end of operations. Once these operational requirements are addressed, we need to examine how products are formulated and processed. A dietary supplement operation is expected to have extensive raw material and finished product testing built into the program. Operationally, this is fulfilled through either the use of a properly staffed internal laboratory or through the use of a third-party laboratory. In either case, standard operating procedures for preparing samples, storing and retaining samples, determining testing needs, interpreting results, and communicating and documenting test results both internally and to customers where required should be maintained. To go along with batch or lot testing requirements, a functional hold and release program is expected to be in place for ingredients, work-in-process products, and finished products. Hold and release programs must ensure products can be segregated and restricted from movement from the stage of operation where testing is performed until results demonstrating the supplement's safety or nutritional efficacy are obtained. We will be detailing how a testing regimen and a hold-release program functions in a dietary supplement operation in episode 4 of this series. Included with the Master Manufacturing Record, testing and holding program, and strong hygiene controls, the facility must carefully check labeling on each batch to assure that they are correct. In our first episode, we discussed the need for dietary supplement labels to undergo regulatory review to assure that statements are within the FDA and state regulations. In addition to reviewing the labels when they are created for dietary supplements, they must be checked on the line to make sure that the correct labels go on each package and that those labels are the most current and up-to-date versions. It is best practice to have a proof or a correct example of the label for the supplement being packaged on the line for comparison during each run. The proof should be approved by a signature by quality assurance and should be easily seen at the time of review. This can be done through laminating and posting it on the line, or by keeping it with the labels at the point of final packaging. All label checks must be recorded, so a sign-off either on the batch record or on its own sheet will work, and this is what is included in the master manufacturing record documents. The careful control of operations required to meet regulatory requirements also extends to the approval of materials accepted into operations, and this is achieved through a functional supply chain program. The Kellerman Consulting video series on supplier approval covers in detail the requirements for approving suppliers and materials in operation, and we recommend reviewing that series to understand regulatory expectations for supply chain management. To meet the requirement for 21 CFR 111, facilities must demonstrate in writing the verification of purity and authenticity of the active ingredient of the supplement, as well as confirming that the suppliers of all the materials that are handled, processed, and shipped to those facilities are correct. One thing to note here is that the supplier approval program for dietary supplements are expected to include certificates of analysis or COAs in combination with a testing program. We will examine COAs and testing in greater detail in episode 4 of this series as part of our in-depth look of testing programs. To complete our review of regulatory expectations, we need to review sanitation and allergen controls as well as recall plans in dietary supplement operations. As with supplier approval, programs for cleaning, sanitation, and recalls are expected to be implemented and to function at high levels of control. For cleaning and sanitation, dietary supplements are expected to be manufactured in clean rooms and to have detailed proper instructions for cleaning and sanitation, cleaning logs, ATP swabbing, and should also have preoperative inspections in place each day of operations. All cleaning and sanitation programs for supplements must include an environmental monitoring program, as we have detailed in our previous video series on that subject. A successful cleaning and sanitation program must be capable of removing risks for biological hazards, such as pathogens, and should minimize the risk of mold in products, and the effectiveness should be demonstrated through finished product testing. For allergen controls, allergens must be properly listed on labels for any of the 9 allergens recognized in the United States, as well as any additional allergens acknowledged in other countries where products are sold. Allergens should also be controlled through cross-contact prevention practices like careful scheduling so that allergens don't touch a shared line with other products prior to a complete cleaning and sanitation. It may also include allergen swabbing of lines to demonstrate that no proteins are present on surfaces. In addition to sanitation and allergen controls, all facilities producing dietary supplements must be able to properly recall any products that are found to be unsafe or mislabeled, and that means the implementation of a written recall plan. Recall plans need to have a properly defined team, the contact information for the FDA recall coordinator in your geographic region, standard operating procedures, and responsibilities for overseeing and performing the logistics of a recall. These procedures and responsibilities must be included in training, and it is expected that a practice recall or mock recall is performed at least every year to test both the inventory management system used in operations and the recall team's readiness to perform each member's role in a recall. That completes the basic review of 21 CFR 111 regulatory requirements for dietary supplements. We recommend that management and quality assurance keeps a copy of 21 CFR 111 available for review at all times within operations, and that the program is reviewed against those dietary supplement regulations at least once every year to assure compliance with regulatory expectations. In our next episode, we are going to look more closely at the master manufacturing record and the checks that should be performed in operation. Thank you for watching. For more food safety training videos and resources, please check out our website at kellermanconsulting.com and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel or follow us on LinkedIn.